Hello, I'm Jeff Tiener. I'm the president of the Residents Association. This is the next in our series of virtual Resident Association meetings. We've had 3 or 4 of those in the last, since the first of the year, I believe. And at these meetings, different committee chairs have provided reports to let the residents know what the committees have been up to. The report today is a report on behalf of the Technology Committee. The chair of that committee is Frank Riley, but at least as the gentlemen who were at the gentleman's lunch a week or 2 ago are well aware, Frank and Mary are in Arizona enjoying the good weather and playing golf and traveling all around the lovely sites. Tony is the liaison to the Technology Committee. Tony is the treasurer of the Residents Association, as most of you know, I believe, and each committee has a member of the executive board who was assigned as the liaison to that committee. Tony's responsible for the Technology Committee, and in Frank's absence has agreed to issue the report, which I was anxious to have done, even though Frank isn't here now, because the Technology Committee has undertaken some recent activities that I thought the residents should be aware of. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Tony.
Thank you, Jeff. Hello, fellow residents of Stonebridge. I'm pinch hitting, as Jeff said, for Frank Riley, who chairs this committee. The other members of the committee are Peter Zifra, David McAlpin, Jock McFarland, who is the expert on videos and is making this very video that you're watching now, Neil O'Leary, and myself, Tony Glockler. In pre-COVID times, the Technology Committee sponsored various education sessions that required us to gather together, usually in the large auditorium. In addition to that, the committee monitored the performance of the Bloomberg staff who used to come here every Wednesday and assist people with technology problems. And finally, we lobbied with Stonebridge management for technology-based improvements. As an example, improving the Wi-Fi in the clubhouse. Most of those activities had to cease when COVID came along. We were hampered, as were so many other units of Stonebridge. So what we did was we pivoted to try to replace the Bloomberg function by having members of the committee assist residents with technology problems. The way it works is there's a sign-up sheet in the hallway near the mailboxes where you can sign up, give your name and your phone number and apartment number, and then a brief note as to what your problem is. And hopefully one of us, most frequently it's Peter or Neil, sometimes myself, will contact the person who's had a problem and do our best to resolve those problems. Sometimes we are successful and we fix something. Sometimes we are unable to, but we can recommend to whom the resident should turn to get this issue taken care of. For example, this problem is a Comcast problem, or the problem is can be addressed best by technician X. Sometimes we're lucky, we get to the person's apartment and find out that spontaneously the problem has resolved itself. It's been a moderately successful program. It's off to a good start. I think it needs somewhat better response time by members of the committee so that the residents aren't waiting too long before somebody appears to assist them with their problem. The future, I think, is going to be a little different than the past has been. For one thing, I think we need to enlarge the committee by 2 or 3 new members so that we can better address problems that residents raise for us to take a look at. We hope we can resume some training sessions to introduce items that are emerging as important technologies, such as streaming, Zoom meetings, and the like. We also, I think, need to take a look at the variety of means, mostly technological means, but not entirely, that are used by the administration to communicate with residents or the residents to communicate with each other. There's such a variety of them, and sometimes they overlap, and there may be instances where there's gaps between that need to be filled. But I'm thinking of things such as the 1979 in-house television station, software such as resident apps, the use of email, telephone, the weekly bulletin, and cubby stuffing notices. And these tend to overlap with each other, and we need to look, I think, see whether we can be a little more efficient and make sure we plug any gaps that occur. We need to continue to work with Stonebridge Springpoint to enhance technology infrastructure at Stonebridge. I've been given to understand that there's some activities going on with Springpoint that will have some effect on us, and it will improve our technological infrastructure. And it'll be interesting to see how that works out. And I hope that we have an opportunity to participate in that activity. Finally, it occurs to me that we probably should meet with new residents a week or two after they've moved in and have had a chance to settle in, partly to install them to the technologies that are available here at Stonebridge, and partly to assess their needs so we're in a better position to meet the needs in the future. So that's a brief summary of what we've been doing and what we hope we will be doing. Thank you very much for your attention.
And thank you, Tony. You can now see why I was anxious to have this report made available to you. I have heard anecdotally from several recipients of your services that they have been delighted to have received your assistance. So that's a very good sign. And I think that your suggestion of adding a couple of members to the committee is a very good one, especially if we could get some of the more tech-savvy people to join the committee, and then we could expand the range of services and perhaps the speed of response if you had a few more members. So that's certainly a good thing to look forward to. One other thing I wanted, did you have anything to respond to that, Tony?
No, I'm hoping, frankly, that as a result of watching this brief report, some technology savvy people will give me a ring and say, hey, can I join with you? The extension is 3764. Give me a call.
Very good. The final thing I wanted to say is that we are coming up to May, which is the date of the annual meeting of the Residents Association. This year, as last year, the election will be conducted by paper ballot because we can't have large groups in the auditorium. So you will get a paper ballot. It will be distributed to people in their cubbies, I think, on May 8th, and you will have about 10 days to return it. I urge you to do so. We must have a quorum in order to have a valid election. So please pay attention as that date approaches. You'll get other reminders, but that's something that is coming, and you should be aware of that. Also on that ballot will be an opportunity to vote on amendments to the bylaws of the Residents Association. We did a fairly comprehensive review of those bylaws, and some changes were made. Nothing very earth-shaking, I wouldn't say. A lot of it is process and procedure, and we eliminated some provisions in there that said we would do things that we, in fact, were not doing various posting requirements and so on. So those are available on Channel 1979. They're posted outside of on the Residents Association bulletin board, and copies are available also outside of Brooke's office if you want a hard copy. And the recommendation is that you approach a member of the executive committee if you have any suggestions or comments about those proposed amendments, but before April 8th, which is when the executive committee next meets, and at that point we'll act upon those proposed changes. And with that, I would like to thank you and look forward to further meetings, and really looking forward to in-person meetings. A resumption of those are much better with feedback possible, and we look forward to that. But this is the best we can do at this point, and I thank you.